On our website, kfoxtv.com, just click on the weather tab. New at 9. Late last year, El Paso became the epicenter of the pandemic in the United States. But even as the number of daily cases has dropped significantly compared to months ago, El Paso's active case count remains as high as it was during our peak. And some say that simply doesn't add up. Kfox 14 News at 9's Keenan Willard explains.
After the peak of El Paso's COVID-19 crisis, the city says active cases haven't dropped at all, despite new cases falling off a cliff since then. Some El Pasoans are concerned that the way the city counts active cases could be making these numbers look more than triple what they actually are.
I was like, okay, great. The active cases are going to go down now. And then they didn't.
The city of El Paso's active case reports have remained around 35,000 since mid-November, when El Paso was reporting more than 1,000 new cases daily. Since then, new cases in El Paso have dropped to around 500 or less each day. Kfox 14 asked the city how it defines when a case moves from active to recovered. In a statement, Health Director Angela Mora says the city contacts or attempts to contact each positive case after 10 days, and only when recovery is confirmed do they remove the case from the active column. Over the past 10 days in El Paso, there have been 4,464 new COVID-19 cases reported. But the city is reporting there are 35,126 active cases. To get to that number, you would have to add up every new case reported in El Paso for the past 73 straight days, with no recoveries. Last week, city leaders told us El Pasoans could be fighting COVID-19 longer because of high rates of underlying conditions.
Therefore, when we have been hit, we have had some incredibly severe cases that have taken time for people to recover.
Some El Pasoans believe the city isn't contacting people to take them out of the active column, telling the city on its Facebook page that they tested positive months ago and never received a call. I asked the city for an interview to ask about those claims, but they referred us back to the statement from the health director. Lucas Gailey is a teaching assistant at UTEP. He made this comparison of how El Paso's active cases would look if they were removed after more than 2 weeks, which we confirmed. This graph shows active cases dropping to below 10,000, while you can see the city's curve has stayed flat at 35,000 for months.
If you're telling a population that, hey, we have 35,000 active cases, when in reality it might be as little as 10,000, right? Like that's a big difference. And to me, it's important that people know their actual risk.
Now, the city of El Paso has promised me an interview tomorrow about active cases where we'll discuss all of these questions, and we'll have that report ready for you tomorrow night. From West El Paso, Keenan Willard, Kfox 14 News at 9.
Back here at home, tomorrow's COVID-19 report will look a lot different from what we've seen for the past several months. The city is making a big change after Kfox 14 investigates uncovered a flaw in their active case counts. Kfox 14 News at 9's Keenan Willard pointed out their mistake weeks ago. He is live in the newsroom with the fix that they came up with. Keenan.
El Paso's health director says starting tomorrow, the city's going to implement its new system of reporting active cases, with those numbers expected to drop as a result. But even after they told us how they've been reporting active cases, we ran those numbers again, and it appears they've still been reporting thousands of cases too many.
We are ready to change the process this evening.
3 weeks ago, Kfox 14 Investigates broke down the number of active cases in El Paso. We found for the city's number of more than 35,000 to be accurate, you'd have to add up every new case in El Paso for more than 2 months with no recoveries, even though the CDC defines an average case as taking 10 days to recover. The city told us they would be changing their approach, and now that system is finally ready.
What did you change to get to this new number?
So right now, what we call an active case, we don't close it until 55 days after the individual is diagnosed with COVID-19.
Health Director Angela Mora says the city's previous system would mark a case recovered if after 10 days, the city could call the patient to make sure they were symptom-free. If they couldn't contact the patient, the case would stay active for up to 55 days.
We are going to shorten the period to close the cases to 28 days.
Mora says the new system will show 2 categories, cases 1 to 15 days old and those between 15 and 28 days old. But the city's explanation of the current system doesn't match the number of active cases right now. To get to today's active case total of 34,321, you would have to include every new case reported in El Paso for the past 81 days, 26 days longer than the city's current cutoff.
What percentage of those cases are people who are greater than that 10-day range or 14-day range even, and just you can't get them on the phone?
I don't have those numbers with me, but I can provide that later. We do have those figures.
Some El Pasoans say they've seen issues in the contact tracing system themselves.
I got infected with COVID on October 25th. That's when I started getting the symptoms.
2 weeks after testing positive for COVID-19 last fall, Jonathan Oyervides says he got a call from the health department. He told them he was recovered, but last week he got a surprise in the mail.
I open it, and it turns out it's the letter of isolation from October. Even it has the date from October 25th, 2020, and I just got it last week, so 4 months later, that is.
Oyervides says he's hopeful the new system can eliminate situations like his.
I'm probably active still on their system, maybe. It's kind of eye-opening and a little worrying.
The health director tells us Oyervides' case may have been a delayed case from the state that the city only got notice of last week, but that doesn't explain the phone call he got back in October. From West El Paso, Keenan Willard, Kfox 14 News at 9.